Another fun exercise and a real-world application in Photoshop is creating YouTube images, specifically for this example, channel art. So if you search on Google for channel art guidelines on YouTube, you'll see instructions how to change your channel art, and it gives you these templates right here, which I've included in the support files at the beginning of this section. So what we're going to do, instead of just creating a new file, we're going to use that template, and I'll show you how to do a couple more Photoshop techniques as part of this exercise. So go ahead and open up Photoshop. You go to File, Open, and instead of the Photos folder, we are going to use some photos in there, but let's navigate to the YouTube channel art templates, and we want to open up this one with the Photoshop layers, and you'll see it has a layers panel here. If you don't see that, go ahead and go to Window, then Layers, Window, Layers, like that, and then you can see that the bottom, if you hit the eye icon, that's kind of the background hue there, and then you can also see the instructions, all the text layers here. If you click that down arrow, you've got a group of layers here. All right. So we don't want to have those in our final product, but they're just there for a guide for us to see what we're working on and where we should put the elements. All right. So we don't have to get rid of that just yet. What you want to do is create something where all your essential text is here in the middle. So if you have a client who has a YouTube channel and they've hired you to create their channel art, this would be a good exercise to start practicing that. If you go to File, Open, and you can open up some of the images that we have, you can follow along exactly with me, or you can just be creative and use your own photos, or you can use some of the other photos that I've included in here. So let's just say it's a travel YouTube channel. So let's choose Fall Leaves, click Open, and then just drag it over here. I'm going to use this Move tool and just click and drag it over on top of this. Click OK. And you'll notice it's not large enough to be on the entire area. Now, I did resize these photos before uploading them to the support files area because they were just too large and it'd take a long time for you to download them. So you don't want to make them larger than the original, usually because this is going to pixelate, but we can add an effect where it's just a subtle background. All right. So I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to hold Shift to maintain the original proportion and do something like that. All right, I'm going to bring this up just a little bit so we can see part of the road in the text and logo safe area. All right, so I need to move. I'm going to use my arrow here. Just slightly resize it. All right, I'm going to hit Enter to apply those changes. All right, so it's going to look pixelated if we don't do some effects here to make it just more abstract. This is what, if you had it on a TV, like a YouTube app on your TV, widescreen TV, this is what you would see. You'd see all this area. All right. If you're on a desktop and a mobile, you're only going to see this area here in the middle. So I'm going to add a couple effects here. Make sure we're on layer 1 here that we've just brought in, and I'm going to go to Filter, and then there's a couple different artistic effects. If you go to Filter Gallery, and this is kind of large here, but let me resize this for you so you can see it on the screen. All right. There we go. All right, so you're rarely going to use most of these, I would say, unless you're just doing some kind of abstract look for a client. So you can experiment and look through all those different ones. It just previews it, what it looks like. So if it's something where we would want to stylize something like this, then this would be relevant. So I'm going to go over to watercolor, and each of these has options, of course. So we can move the detail up and down. We can move the shadow intensity up and down, and also the texture up and down as well. So I'm going to hit OK. All right, it just has more of a stylized look to it. And if you don't like that, of course, you can do undo, or you can do it on a new layer. You can just press Control-J on the PC or Command-J on the Mac. If you want to do something slightly different, for example, I'll just show you image adjustments, and then you can go to threshold, for example, and just give you this black and white look. You can also go to image adjustments and then black and white. And you can do this as adjustment layer as well, but since I'm on a new layer, it's not too big of a deal. And so you can really control the tonality of a black and white conversion there. All right, so if you click OK. So if you like that as your background, great. If you don't, you can just leave the original. It just might look pixelated if you start lower. So find a larger image if you want one to go across the page like that, if you're going to actually use it for a client. Like my original photo was that large, it's just I made it smaller so it wouldn't have to take as much time to download, but hopefully you get the technique. So what we're going to do is we have, if you want to just turn the eye icon here so we can see, we want to put our basic information here that's relevant. All right. So I'm going to just click with the type tool and type in the name of the channel. All right, so travel world, I'm just making this up. All right. So generally, I just want to put it over here a little bit. If you look on an actual YouTube channel, sometimes the profile image will be over here. There'll be a little subscribe and social media links over here. It just depends. I mean, experiment with it. You could try centering it, or you can move it to the side. Either way. Then if you want to add another message below it, just select the type tool again, click. New videos every Monday, and again, click and drag with the corner there with the move tool. And we're just saying new videos every Monday. We can left align it here with the edge of the T if we wanted to, and then hit enter. And so remember, we go over layer styles, how we would just add a layer style to this, a quick one, layer, then layer style, and then you could do a slight drop shadow if you want, but it doesn't look as good with the color of the font. You can do stroke, right? So you can do one on the outside, specific color, and just try that out. All right. And if you want the same effect, you can alt click and drag it down to the other one if you wanted that. And then if you think it's too much, you can hit the icon to toggle it off. Now we have one of our shape layers. We can actually use this as an opportunity to go over that pretty quickly. If you click on the rectangle tool here, click and hold on to it, you got a couple other shapes in here. If you try to, just click and drag here, see how it says I can't insert the shape. It's because I'm on a type layer, which is not rasterized, meaning it's not pixel based. We see it on pixels, but if I make it larger, it won't pixelate until you rasterize it. So what we need to do is create a new layer on the bottom of the layers panel, and then choose the rectangle tool here. And we have shape if we want to create a shape layer, path, or pixel. So if we're going to create it and make it smaller but not larger, you can just go to pixels. That's fine. And then what you want to do just across here, you can click and drag just so that it'd be consistent. And then we'll drag it below those other type layers. And then it needs to show through a little bit to the layer below it here. So what we can do is do something like multiply, lighten, experiment with the different settings there. Even like overlay is pretty cool. So check those out, see what you can come up with. I'm just going to do hue. That's pretty cool. If you're looking at this on a PC or a Mac, you're just going to see this area right here. So just keep that in mind. If you're looking on a tablet, you're just going to see this area. Larger desktop, you're going to see it with this area. So that's the minimum desktop and maximum. But if it's on a TV, you're going to see all of this. So I have a couple YouTube channels, like a Photoshop tutorials channel, Good Creative Academy, and I have a sports channel. And so the key there when I create these, either for myself or if you create them for a client, you want this to be a whole design in and of itself, so it doesn't look like it's missing anything. Don't put vital info up here or down here because you won't see it on a computer. You'll only see it when you're on a TV. So really this is extraneous. It's just a little bit extra around the edges, and it's only meant for when you're looking at it on TV. So those are a couple more techniques as we go over a real-world example of creating a YouTube channel art. Of course, you'd want to save this as a PNG or JPEG, so just go to Save As, set it to PNG or JPEG, and then you can upload it on your channel or a client's channel. Be sure, though, before you save it, hit the icon where it says Spec, and then also hit the icon Your Art here. You don't need those layers. Those were in the original template, and we don't need those. This is just a guide here in the middle. We don't need that. All right, so you can just File, Save As, and then save it when those layers are not visible. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next lesson.